Levi in the house
Hi,
online.
Josiah.
Hi.
What's it
You
called? It's
did.
funny.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
I was watching the class yesterday on YouTube, and I realized that you made a Star Wars joke. I'm a
Wait,
very
what?
big
What did I
I'm a
say?
very big Star Wars fan. You were explaining something and how it's like
Oh, yeah.
when it gets compacted in the trash compactor. I'm a really big Star Wars fan.
Good. And you watched the good Star Wars movies too, the old ones.
Uh huh. Yeah.
I mean, the new ones are cool. I'm trying to be more open minded. It's not like I don't like new things, but I was just like super disappointed with the prequels because I saw those when I was like your guys' age in the theater, and I was like, "Wow, this is my Star Wars movie." And then I left, and I was like 13 or 14, and I'm like, "What did I just watch?" I'm so
Yeah.
confused. But
The prequels don't amount to the old ones. And even the newer ones, they're still pretty good. But like, I love how the cinematic development is like with the CGI and everything.
yeah,
But it's still not the same.
it's not the same. Some kind of heart is lacking. Like it feels like a Star Wars movie when they're walking around talking about Star Wars things and they're fighting with lightsabers, but it's missing some kind of like just simple basic heart, I think.
Yeah.
The last one, the big what was it called? The Last of Skywalker or the Rise of
Oh,
Skywalker?
the last. I think it's the last Skywalker or
Yes.
the Rise of Skywalker or something like that. Yeah.
When I was watching that, I was kind of enjoying as like for the sci-fi-ness of it, seeing that creepy planet where the Emperor Palpatine is living. I was like, okay, this is creepy. I like this. But then
Yeah.
when the movie was ending and there's like a battle of people on the top of a spaceship and they're like riding horses on top of a spaceship, I was like, what is happening right now? I just can't even tell what's
Yeah.
happening. So I try not to be too judgmental about the new Star Wars movies, but I am a little bit, and it's maybe just because I'm used to the old ones, and I want them to be the old ones. I'm always trying though to enjoy them for what they are. You know what I mean? Instead of like, anyways, Levi, I'm glad you caught the reference. You might be the only one who did.
Good morning, DJ.
Good morning, Victor, and good morning, Tatiana. I'm glad you're here. And all of you. Savannah, good welcome back. And Brooke, welcome back. Anthony's here today. Woo! And Anaya's back. Yay, Anaya. And Victor. I think that's everyone. All right, cool. I'm glad some of you are here today who missed yesterday. Good morning. All right. Per the norm, I'm a little bit behind in life again, but let me show you what I would like to start with today. All right. Okay. So, yesterday we were doing, for those of you who were here or were watching the video, you know we were doing this translations and transformations lesson from Unit 6. Now, we only really got as far as translations, and that's okay. Today, I'm going to call this part two. Um, Before we get into the nitty gritty, let's talk about the badge board because not everyone might have seen that yesterday. I made this over the weekend, and I'm pretty excited about it. Might be a little corny, but I'm hoping that you enjoy it too. Uh, the badge board is something I've made to keep track of every unit, your guys's each individual progress. There's no scores shown, so don't worry about that. But it just shows that you finished an assignment or have completed a task in class. Um, to view it, you can go onto Google Classroom. So I'm going to show you that real quick. Some of you still haven't joined Google Classroom. Let's see. Keep. And I would love to work that out with folks who still need help joining or don't know how or just haven't done it yet. I might resort to calling home to parents soon for people who haven't joined. I'd love to do that. It's just finding the time. So here's my view of it. And if I click on your guys' class, and this does look exactly the way your view will look when you go to the Google Classroom as well. So When you first get into the Math 1B Google Classroom, you see this stream, and this is like all the new changes or updates. All the assignments show up here, but then my announcements too. So I like to put this at the top. This is the class meeting link. So if you are a student who might be struggling to like find the call, and I apologize about that. It wasn't ever meant to be a mystery how to get to class, but I know that going to your Gmail every day might be kind of confusing and difficult. Like, where's the email with Josiah's link? Well, here it is at the very top of the announcements on Google Classroom. So this is the Zoom call, and then the password Numa is there. Also, underneath that, I've got the badge board link. So I'll move this up later and get it to be second on the list. Badge board link. So this is where you guys can view the badge board. Now, I'm going to make a few changes to it. Like I want to change my assignments so they're not all green. So I'll do that later. So everything will be a different color. But what you're looking at is the Unit 6 badge board. I've got a description of each badge at the top. I've made the first 4 to be like tasks for us in the classroom. So the first task is joining remind.com. Pretty easy. And I will fill this one in for each unit for folks who've already done it. And then after that, we've got risk taker badge for answering a math question in front of the group. Committed badge, which is 1 week of perfect attendance. And I might even change this to be every week. So I would like to do that. It's just going to be hard for me to find the space in the board, but I'm going to make it work. So anyways, I wanted to, and then also after that, we've got scribe, which is taking notes daily and showing me a picture or sending me a picture of your notes. So you can still get this badge if you're doing it later, if you're watching a video. Just send me a picture of your notes on Remind or on Google Chat. I'd like to use Remind because that's where I'm sending out class announcements to you guys and your parents. And then after that, we've got the assignments here, listed here. So I did fill it in as of yesterday morning for people who have finished the different assignments. So if you scroll down, you can find your name and see the ones you've earned. I didn't fill it in for these yet, even though a lot of you have already earned these from last year and last week. But I wanted to make it fresh this week so that everyone has a chance to get risk taker or committed or scribe. So if you answer questions in the group, or at least try, I'm not even looking for the right answer, just sharing what you think or how you think about the problem, or if you have perfect attendance this week. And I do want to say that even if you miss a day for like a doctor's visit or you're legitimately sick, which I know a lot of you have been, as long as you're telling me that, then that's not going to count against your perfect attendance. So I know some of you have, not been feeling well or been going to the doctor, and that's totally reasonable, right? It's not going to count against you, just so you know. And then when we do notes, I want you to just send me a picture of your notes or show me on the camera that day, like always, and then I will be marking you down and giving you the scribe badge. All right. Any questions so far? Concerns? Complaints about the badges? I would like your guys' feedback even on the badge board. So like what you think about it or what you don't like about it or what you do like about it. So I think I'll put a question in an assignment maybe tomorrow or Thursday so you can give some feedback on what you think about the badge board. Levi?
I was going to say that I kind of like the idea of it because sometimes I can have a hard time keeping track of what assignments I need to do.
Totally.
So actually yesterday I went in yesterday and I saw what I needed to get done to get marked down.
Awesome. For like the assignments, right? Yeah. Great. And the only issue, I would hate for people to see the upcoming assignments and think they have to have all those due. So maybe I'll make those a different color and mark them as like not due yet or something like that. So that way people know we're up to, this point, the geometrics or the translations or whatever we're at for that day. Thanks, Levi. I hope that was useful for other people in the same way. All right, now back to my presentation. All right, so the goal for the rest of today is to
I'm still working on part 1.
For sure. No worries, Tatiana. You can still send me the picture of those when you get them done, okay? Take some notes today for the new stuff. And then yesterday, if you can later today, I know I'm asking a lot of you guys. If you can later today, go on and watch yesterday's video, Tatiana. And that'll be where we started this. Today's
Yeah, I was doing it. I started it yesterday when I got.
High five, dude. You're on the right track. I love hearing that. Thank you.
Okay.
Alrighty, so I talked about the badge board, and then today, my plan for you guys, we've still got about 50 minutes left. I want to do a quick review, so that way it gives everyone a chance to see what we did yesterday. A quick review of yesterday, just the translations, that's as far as we got. And then I have a special assignment that I made up just to practice our translations. Okay, so it's not a mastery test. I will be putting a badge up for it, though. So it's going to be an actual assignment. So please don't think you can just not do it. We'll have a badge. It's not on the badge board yet, but I will put it up there later. I reserve the right to change the badge board when I need to add stuff, obviously. I'm going to change the color of the assignments too, so it'll be prettier and they won't all be the same green, even though I do love green. Alrighty, so here we go. Let's get your paper ready. Try to take some notes on the next few slides. I'm not going to do this for too long. I don't want it to take up too much of your time. I want you to get some practice doing these translations yourself. Let me just hide this panel. Thank you. There we go. All right. I can't see chats though, just for the next few minutes. So if you want, turn on your mic and make a comment or a question. Okay, so before us, we've got a graph of x squared, or more properly stated, more fully, what stated would be f of x is equal to x squared. This was the parabola shape from yesterday's lesson and notes. And it's the parent graph. That's what I'm going to call them when it's kind of like the starting position. It's the most basic version of the x squared graph, parent graph. I want to translate this guy using this rule. Graph f of x plus 2. Folks, look at the translation below that I have typed in there. Is the plus 2 inside or outside the parentheses? Think that to yourself. That's always our first question is the translation, the rule, is it happening in the parentheses or outside? This one's inside. So whenever it's inside, does anyone remember from yesterday, would be willing to share, if it's inside the parentheses, are we doing a horizontal or a vertical translation?
Wait, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect. Anaya, go ahead.
If it's inside, it's horizontal.
High five, Anaya. Thank you for sharing. Inside the parentheses, it's horizontal. There's one more trick, and this is quite a trick that we have to remember for all inside parentheses and horizontal. Do we do the plus 2 or do we do negative 2? Anyone remember from yesterday?
I think you do -2 because you do the opposite.
Savannah, high five to you, dude. Yeah, we're going to do -2 for this one. We do the opposite. whenever we do translations for horizontal, it turns out that it's the opposite of what it looks like. To see it in action, you can make a table. And that's what I was doing yesterday. A lot of, I'm afraid maybe I did too many of those, might have lost some folks. But as a rule, whenever our translation, our +2 or -5 or whatever we're looking at is in the parentheses, it's horizontal, we do the opposite. So I'm going to do that above. I'm going to do a horizontal translation of -2. Let's do it in a different color, purple. So to do the translation, it's the same graph in red, the same parent graph, but imagine moving it over 1, 2 spaces. I'm going in the -2 direction because my rule given was x plus 2. So I think the easiest way to do this is move like the point at 0, 0. So I imagine that point moving over to here, 2 spaces left, and then just kind of do your best to copy the rest of the graph. You can check some points for accuracy to make sure they move 2 spaces over. Like for instance, 1, 1, this should move over 2 spaces. So over 1 more. So here's my new 1, 1. And then the one that was in its place would move over 2 to right here. But there's my translation. It's the same red graph, but we moved it over 2 to the left. Good job, guys. And I and Savannah, thanks for answering. Now, I know my picture's a little wobbly, right? But the point is the original red graph was just shifted over that much space. Let's say we did another one with a different translation here. So you guys already answered if the rule's inside. This one's inside parentheses. So that means, just like last time, it's horizontal. It's a left-right change, left-right translation. And like last time, we're doing the opposite. So all this stuff happens whenever it's inside the parentheses. Opposite of what it looks like. Do the opposite. So this one says x minus 2. I'm going to do the opposite and move the whole red graph plus 2 to the right. So this spot here, this 0, 0, we're going to move that over 1 over 2 total. And imagine taking the whole graph with it. The whole thing is being shifted over. Mine's a little skinnier, but pretend with me that it's the exact same shape, okay? I'm just sketching it. And when you're sketching it at home, it's okay if it's not perfect too. I just want you to see that the change is happening in that direction. I'm going to hold here for a sec. I wanted to just look at a couple more quick translations with you guys, and then we'll start our activity in less than 5 minutes. Okay, we're going to do our activity in 5 minutes. Okay, for the next ones I'm going to pull up in just a moment. I think we're going to look at the x to the third graph. That's the cubic graph. It looks a little different than this one. However, the translations are the same rules. So here we have this red one we see now. This is our parent graph this time, but it's a different equation. It's f of x equals x to the third power. When you have x to the third power, it makes a different shape. It's not like the parabola. It's kind of like half of the parabola is going down and the other half is going up. You can kind of think about it that way, but it does move faster and it's like skinnier than the parabola. It's a little squashed. Okay, so the rules stay the same. Down below, look at the translation for this one. It's f of x plus 3. Again, we see it in the parentheses. So those same two things apply. Let me hear from someone other than Savannah or Anaya, just because I know you two probably know this already. Are we going to move horizontal or vertical this time?
I think you're gonna move horizontally because yeah, okay, yeah. I was just checking to make sure.
Levi, high five to you. Yeah, again, we're doing horizontal because the +3 that we see is inside those parentheses. Beautiful, thank you. And then just like last time, whenever we're doing horizontal, whenever it's inside the parentheses, we're doing the opposite. So let me just write that down. Do the opposite. Okay, so that means I'm going to be dragging my red graph left or right. I want to do the opposite of +3, which is -3. So again, the easiest way to visualize this and write it on paper is to track the 0, 0 point right there. So if I were to kind of drag that over, 1, 2, 3 to the left, well, here's my new one. And I'm going to kind of try to copy the shape I see in red. And it's okay if it's not perfect. And I'm going to label it. I probably should have labeled the last two. So we've labeled the red one x to the third. So what is the equation for my purple one? This would be, instead of f of x, we're looking at f of x plus 3. And the actual equation for it is x plus 3 to the third power. Notice how I switched out x with x plus 3, like it's in the parentheses for the actual equation portion, just like it is on the f portion. So wherever we see x on the red, it got swapped out with x plus 3 when we're like writing the actual equation. That'll come up later. Just take note of that. Sorry. Hide this. Okay, and folks, let's look at another one like this. Also the cubic, the parent graph that looks like this. I'm going to label it again. F of x is x to the third. And then if this time I wanted to do f of x minus 3, you're asking yourself, is the translation in the parentheses or out? Okay, we've done a bunch of inside. This one's inside again. So we're going to do the opposite of what it looks like, and it goes horizontal. Sorry about that. Horizontal, opposite. Let me write this properly. Horizontal. Okay. So I'm dragging it plus 3 instead of minus 3. We're doing the opposite of what it looks like. So track that 0, 0. That guy moves over 1, 2, 3 this way. I didn't give myself a lot of space, did I? It would go up off the graph a little bit and then down this way. So what we're doing is dragging the original 3 units right. We're doing the opposite of what it looks like. I'll hold here for a moment. I wanted to look at some verticals really quick, and then we'll do our activity. Okay. So now this time we're using the same function, the same parent graph is the cubic again. It's this guy, f of x equals x to the third. So that's the shape. The rule below, finally we see it's outside the parentheses. All right. So if I can hear from anybody who's willing to try answering this one, if it's outside the parentheses, are we going to move horizontal left, right, or are we going to move vertical up, down?
If it's outside the parentheses, that means we're gonna go vertical.
High five, dude. Anaya? Vertical this time because it's outside the parentheses. Okay, the last thing we have to remember is because we're doing vertical, because it's outside the parentheses, we do it how it looks, not the opposite. It's a lot to write, but I always think of it as we do it at face value. So, excuse me. So it's not the opposite when it's vertical. I'm going to say we do it at face value, or translate is what I should be saying. Translate at face value. And what I mean by that is we're going to actually move it +1, not -1. The opposite happens for horizontals. So again, track the 0, 0 point. We're going to move that point up 1 to right here. And then I'm going to do my best to copy the rest of the graph. And it'll look something like this. And in purple, what I've just graphed is f of x plus 1. The equation of it would be x to the third plus 1. It's like taking the x to the third and literally adding 1 to it. So if you wanted to make a table for it, this is the equation you would be using for your output. You'd be plugging in numbers for x, simplifying, and then getting an output there. There's a lot of practice from that in yesterday's video if you want to watch that again. Okay, and likewise, let's see a negative translation, a vertical negative. So it's outside the parentheses, meaning this -1. That part is outside of the parentheses. So that's your clue. We're doing vertical, and we follow it the way it says. We do it at face value. So track the 0, 0 point, drop that down 1 this time right here, and copy the rest of the graph. It's okay if it's not perfect. The idea of sketching is just to kind of get a picture of what it looks like. You can always check your work on Desmos. So if you wanted to check this on Desmos, I want to show you real quick how you could do that. You would need to type in your original graph, and then you could also type in the translation. So let me really quick show you guys how to do that. Because it's a tool I want you to take advantage of. And look, I've got it kind of set up for this. Okay, so here's my parent graph typed in already. F of x is equal to x to the third. And then if I want to do a translation, I'm going to click below my equation right here and make a new equation. And so to type in your translation, you can do f of x minus 2. And see how I'm typing it in, f parentheses x minus 2. I type the translation rule in there just the way it is on the page. And in green, I've got my translated graph. They do look a little different just because I purposely thickened the red one. Here, there's some tools in here you can use if you really want to play with it. But there it is how it would look if you did it, probably without changing anything. So the red is original, x to the third, and then below I typed in my translation. Or we could actually type it in like the equation version of it. So check this out. X minus 2. My purple one is right on top of the green. These are equal. So to go back to how I was doing it in the reviewing, when we replace x with the translation, like x minus 2 or x plus 5 or whatever it is, when you write it with f of the rule, it's the same thing as replacing that translation rule with x in the actual equation above. All right, now this is going to take me a minute to kind of get you each set up with this. So I'm going to really quick show you what I've made for today. Okay, I've made a Jamboard. I would like to match you guys up based on who was here yesterday and who's maybe wasn't here yesterday. I would like you to do your best to work together to answer these questions. And I am, yes, kind of putting folks on the spot, but that used to happen in school all the time. It's just been a long time. Do your best. I know each of you are going to do terrific. I don't mean for this to be a high pressure situation. So first page, take the pen and do your best to type in your name or write your name. I'm going to use some cursive. I've been practicing. You don't have to use cursive.
Where do
So-
you find it at?
Oh, good question. I need to share this with each of you. Really quick, I wanted to just show you the first couple of pages, and then I'm gonna share your guys' copy with you. My bad. So here's you could just draw your name too. So here's me and my partner Josiah. Okay, you guys can change the color of your ink. You can each draw at the same time. It's not like you have to like wait your turn or something. The first few pages, I put a little review in there. So here's the parent graphs. Review the parent graphs below. Notice how they each cross through the point 0, 0. I didn't look at the plain linear function today prior to this, but here's the linear function, and then our parabola shape, and then our cubic shape. Okay, and then here's the rules again, just in case you wanted a refresher. If the rule is inside the parentheses, the translation is horizontal, do the opposite. And then there's an example. And then outside the parentheses is vertical, translate exactly how it looks like. And then there's an example. And then after that, these are from our mastery test, but it's only going to cover the translations. And then tomorrow, we'll dig into transformations. We haven't done that yet. Today's just translations. This way, I can give you guys some questions from the mastery test. We're all getting the same questions. You can work on it with a partner. These are like multiple choice. So you're getting f of x is equal to x squared. That just means we're working with the x squared shape. Find the graph of, and then here's our translation, f of x minus 2. So you would need to determine, okay, is this up or down, left or right? And do we do it at face value or do we do the opposite? You can just circle the choice you want to make. So maybe I'm doing this by myself and I say, oh, I think it's this one. But then my partner says, you know what? I think it's the other one. I'm going to go with that. So other Josiah said it's this right version. You guys can disagree, but maybe talk about it. If you think your partner is off, say, hey, look, let's double check those rules. Is this right? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. So the two Josiahs need to figure out which is the best answer. And you know what another option is? Ask Josiah for help. Teacher Josiah. I did then